Ladies and gentlemen, gather close as I share with you a tale that spans the stars themselves. A story about cosmic arrogance, human resilience, and the gravest mistake an alien empire could make: abducting Earth's three most dangerously adaptable citizens and putting them together in the same cold metal room. Our story begins with a chill, the kind of deep, energy-sucking cold that seeps into bones. This is the first sensation that greets Milo as consciousness returns to him, finding himself sprawled on a floor that makes his garage back in Detroit seem like a heated luxury spa. Milo is no soldier, no astronaut, no hero from the pages of science fiction. He's a mechanic with calloused hands, a practical mind, and 30 years' worth of motor oil staining the concrete back home. The rust in his joints protests as he pushes himself up on one elbow, taking in the vast gray chamber of seamless metal that surrounds him. The air carries a peculiar scent, burnt sugar mingled with superheated ceramic. And he is not alone. A few feet away stands a woman with the compact, powerful build of someone who has spent a lifetime perfecting the art of controlled violence. Tegan, though she doesn't offer her name right away, is already on her feet, coiled and ready. Her dark hair is pulled back in a messy knot, her eyes constantly darting around the enclosure, cataloging every shadow, every seam with military precision. She moves with a liquid grace that speaks volumes about her capacity for swift, decisive action. She is the loaded gun in this strange equation. And then there's Cody, the human firecracker with a lit fuse. He's a lanky guy with sun-bleached hair who, inexplicably, is prodding at a glowing line on the floor with his bare foot, wearing a grin entirely inappropriate for their dire circumstances. "Whoa," he says, his voice echoing in the sterile space. This is way better than the Yawaza retreat in Peru. His enthusiasm earns him a look from Tegan that could curdle milk before they can properly untangle the mystery of their abduction. The wall before them shimmers and dissolves into a haze of static. From this distortion emerges a hologram that defies human nightmares. A 12-foot-tall alien built like a stack of granite blocks, with 4 muscular arms, a face resembling a lizard's nightmare, and ceremonial armor whose heavy plating and overlapping segments suggest it's far more functional than decorative. "Greetings, Terran specimens." The hologram booms, its voice a synthesized avalanche of bass. "I am Warlord Crayon of the Skotari. This is no diplomatic mission. This is no peaceful first contact. This is a validation trial, an experiment designed by a fanatic who has been mocked by his own kind for believing ancient warnings about humanity's dangerous nature." Crayon speaks with the fervor of a zealot, his words laced with frustration at a coalition that has grown fat and lazy, dismissing reports that labeled Earth a Tier 1 existential hazard and instituted quarantine mandate 934. "For millennia," he thunders, his holographic eyes burning with righteous fire, "we have feared our own predators. But I have always known we fear the wrong thing." His gaze locks onto the 3 confused humans. "We were meant to fear you, the ones who live on Earth." Crayon reveals that his abduction scanners identified their primary societal functions: Milo, the skilled laborer and mechanic; Tegan, the enforcer and practitioner of close-quarters violence; and Cody, the recreational specialist with peak agility and spatial awareness. They represent humanity's best and prime, and he intends to broadcast their trial to his entire woefully blind coalition. His purpose is clear and unsettling. "Today, I will force them to watch as I throw the might of the galaxy against you." Leaning forward, his voice drops to a conspiratorial growl. "And when my champions fail to break you, when you adapt, when you turn my ship into your weapon, then they will finally know the terror they have so arrogantly ignored. Your survival is my vindication." As the hologram crackles and vanishes, the 3 humans are left in stunned silence. Cody breaks it first, his surfer bro demeanor falling away to reveal a surprising sharpness. Okay, his goal isn't to kill us. He's using us to prove a point. He wants us to win so he can worship us or something. He wants us to put up a good fight. Tegan corrects, her expression grim. He doesn't care if we die doing it. We're just ammunition in his political argument. Milo, already examining the seams where floor meets wall, grunts in agreement. Great. So, we're a science fair project for a psycho. His calloused thumb traces over a faint vibration, a low, rhythmic thrum of power beneath the surface. Before they can explore further, the far wall of the cell dissolves into a curtain of rippling light, revealing a short, graded ramp that ascends into a maelstrom of sound and light. The scent of hot sand and something musky like a wet dog the size of a minivan washes over them. The roar of a crowd, deep and guttural, echoes from beyond. Tegan, already mentally preparing for battle, cracks her knuckles. Showtime. And indeed it is, for across the galaxy, viewers are tuning into a controversial broadcast from the Warlord Crayon's personal flagship, the Gauntlet. Two alien commentators, the enthusiastic Gelatinous Ga and the more skeptical Placid Merrick, introduce what promises to be an unprecedented spectacle. The humans are about to face their first trial, and the coalition leadership is reportedly already placing bets on how quickly the humans will be reduced to a protein stain, as our three unwilling champions ascend the ramp and step into a vast sand-filled arena. A massive iron gate rises at the far end. The gate slams into its zenith, and a creature that looks like a cross between a rhinoceros and a nightmare boulder lumbers out. Standing 10 feet tall at the shoulder, its hide a thick, craggy plate of dark gray ossified material, with two massive scythe-like tusks curving from its lower jaw. It unleashes a bellow that vibrates the very broadcast equipment capturing the scene. It's a Grom. Ga shrieks to his audience. A brawn from the dust plains of Cinder 4. A classic predator. All muscle, all rage. As the beast fixes its beady red eyes on them, our three humans face their first real test. And in this moment, something remarkable begins to happen, something the Coalition, with all its advanced technology and ancient civilizations, has fundamentally misunderstood about humanity. They don't panic. They don't cower. They don't turn on each other. Instead, they become something greater than the sum of their parts. They become a team. The first sign that the Coalition has grossly miscalculated comes when Cody, seemingly the weakest link, steps forward and deliberately draws the Groan's attention. "Hey, ugly!" he yells, hopping from foot to foot with practiced agility. "Your mom was a mud skipper, and your dad smelled of piss. Come on, let's dance." The Grom, a creature of pure instinct and rage, does exactly what Cody wants. It lowers its massive head and charges. The ground shakes with each thunderous step, sand spraying in plumes behind its massive feet. It is a freight train of muscle and fury aimed directly at the unarmed human. "Cody, move!" Tegan yells, her voice a whip crack cutting through the chaos. "I got this!" Cody shouts back, a delirious grin plastered across his face. What happens next astonishes even the jaded commentators. Cody waits until the last possible second, until he can smell the creature's foul. Hot breath then, with gymnast's grace, plants his hands and flips sideways. The tip of one of the Groan's tusks grazes his shirt as the beast thunders past, unable to stop its momentum, and plows into the far wall with a deafening crash. This is no random flailing of prey before a predator. This is calculated distraction. While the Grom was focused on Cody, Tegan and Milo were already working on their next move. Milo has spotted a maintenance access panel in the arena wall and is sprinting toward it. "Working on it," he calls when Tegan asks for his assessment. The Grom, shaking its massive head in rage, turns its attention to Tegan, who stands her ground with feet planted and body tensed. She's deliberately drawing its focus now, giving Milo time. Cody, she barks without taking her eyes off the beast. Keep it busy. Don't let yourself get cornered. You got it, boss. Cody responds, scrambling up a pile of rocks to position himself at the maintenance panel. Milo discovers it's bolted from the inside. Of course, he swears, slamming his fist against it in frustration. A piece of loose decorative plating clatters to the sand, and an idea sparks. He grabs a jagged piece of metal debris to use as a makeshift crowbar and jams it into the seam of the panel. Tegan, a little help. He grunts, straining against the bar. Tegan feints a charge at the Grom, drawing a furious swipe from its tusks, then sprints to Milo's side. What do you need? Leverage. Milo gasps. Help me with this bar. Together, they throw their weight onto the metal bar. There's a groan of stressed metal, then a loud crack as one of the internal bolt housings fractures. The Grom, hearing the noise, turns its massive head toward them. I don't think so. Cody shouts, leaping from his perch and landing on the Grome's broad back. The beast bucks and spins wildly, giving Tegan and Milo the crucial seconds they need to wrench at the bar again. With a series of sharp cracks, the remaining bolts shear, and the heavy grate sags in its frame. It's loose. Milo yells as Cody is finally thrown clear, landing hard in the sand. The Grom, its patience gone, charges directly at the now helpless Cody. What follows is a masterclass in human improvisation. Milo spots a shallow service trench that the grate had covered. We can't lift it, he realizes aloud, but we can topple it. Tegan understands immediately. She jams her fingers under the loose edge of the great hundreds of pounds of solid steel and gets her shoulder under the corner she's pried up. Cody, draw it in 5 left. She roars. Cody, recovering in an instant, scrambles to his feet and sprints directly into the path of the charge, then cuts sharply left. The beast, locked on its target, follows blindly. As Cody dives past, Tegan puts every ounce of her strength into a massive, desperate shove, a powerlifter's leg drive, a fighter's explosive force, all focused on one pivot point. The grate doesn't fly. It topples, its far edge crushing into the sand, its near edge landing perfectly across the shallow trench to create a brutal angled ramp. The Grom, its simple brain unable to process the sudden change in terrain, slams its front leg into the angled steel. The impact shatters the bone, and its immense momentum carries it up the short ramp, sending it airborne for a terrifying second, before it crashes down on its side, a toppled mountain of ossified hide and rage. Before the creature can even attempt to rise, Tegan is on it, using its flailing leg as a springboard to launch herself onto its thrashing head. She brings her clasped fists down like a piston a human hammer, seeking the one soft spot she's gambled on finding. The blow lands just behind the armored cranium, with a sound like a melon full of wet gravel splitting open. A final convulsive tremor runs through the Grome's body, and then it is still. The arena falls silent save for Tegan's ragged breathing. Cody slowly picks himself up from the sand. Okay, he says with understated awe. That was teamwork. Milo stares at the dead behemoth, then at the steel ramp they'd created. Yeah, he says, a slow grin spreading across his face. Leverage is a beautiful thing. In the broadcast booth, commentator Ga is beside himself. Incredible. He drew the beast's aggression. A classic distraction maneuver. But Merrick watches with unblinking focus, noting something far more significant. As the 3 humans are moved to a new holding cell, they don't collapse in exhaustion or celebration. Instead, they immediately begin preparing for the next challenge. Tegan methodically stretches, working soreness from her muscles. Milo kneels to examine seams in the floor, mapping the ship's construction one shoddy weld at a time. Cody performs light agility drills, keeping his body limber, They show no signs of entering the post-exertion torpor state. Merck observes with growing unease. They've moved directly into a post-mission debrief, analyzing, recalibrating, preparing for the next threat. The hunt never ends. On the command bridge of the Gauntlet, Warlord Crayon watches with grim satisfaction. His private channel, once filled with mockery from his peers, now holds only tense silence. They learn, he murmurs to himself, but his lesson is just beginning. Prepare the labyrinth of blades, he commands a nervous technician. Let's see how their pack synergy holds up against true hunters and automated defenses. The floor beneath our heroes falls away without warning. They land on a hard-graded floor in a corridor, illuminated by thin strips of red light. The walls around them shift, creating a constantly reconfiguring puzzle box. From deep within echoes a high-pitched chittering sound that makes Milo's blood run cold. Scars, he breathes. Pack hunters. Good, Tegan says with chilling calm. I hate fighting things that just stand there. A plasma turret descends from the ceiling, its glowing blue eye swiveling to scan the corridor. It locks onto them. Get down. Milo yells as plasma bolts sizzle past their heads. Cody, draw its fire. Tegan commands without hesitation. On it. Cody responds, sprinting down the corridor in a manic blur of motion. While the turret tracks Cody, Milo scrambles to the wall beneath it and rips open an access panel. Inside is a chaotic jumble of wires feeding a central hub. The turret's main power line is thick and humming with lethal energy, too dangerous to touch with bare hands. But Milo is nothing if not resourceful. He spots a heavy-duty wrench with an insulated rubber handle clipped to the door. He snaps it in half against the edge of the panel and uses the rubber-coated handle to grip the live cable. With a grunt, he yanks the power line free, then jams the exposed contacts into the port for a blast door at the end of the hall. The air crackles with the scent of flash-forged metal as the turret dies and the blast door hums with rerouted power. But Milo doesn't stop there. This is no longer just about survival. This is about turning the tables. He notices the turret's self-contained power cell, a dense, humming cube, and pops it free, shoving it into his waistband. Next to it is a small hardened ceramic card marked with a symbol of a key within a cog, a master maintenance interface. He pockets that too. Meanwhile, Tegan and Cody execute their own deadly ballet against the Scar Hunter's predatory aliens with backward-canted joints that Tegan exploits to dispatch one with brutal efficiency. They reunite to face the final Scar, which is pursuing Cody through the shifting corridors. Milo, status. Tegan calls. Turret's offline, but I made a new friend. Milo shouts back. Get into the main corridor with the big blast door. Tegan relays the instruction, and Cody grins before popping out in front of the Scar. Tag, you're it. He taunts, sprinting toward a series of low-hanging pipes that cross the corridor. Get ready, Milo yells, positioning himself by the disabled turret's wiring. Dive, Tegan screams. Cody launches himself into a low slide, passing clean under the pipes. The Scar, not wanting to lose momentum, makes a fatal calculation. It leaps, aiming to clear the pipes and land on Cody on the other side. As the creature passes under the deactivated turret, Milo slams the wires together. The blast door at the end of the hall discharges a massive concentrated wave of plasma. The beam catches the Scar mid-leap, silhouetting it in brilliant, terrible light for a fraction of a second before it simply ceases to exist, vaporized completely. In the sudden silence that follows, Cody lets out a low whistle. Okay, that was an upgrade. Milo pats the heavy power cell in his waistband. They're leaving spare parts all over the place, he says with gruff satisfaction. It'd be rude not to use them. On the broadcast, Ga is nearly hysterical. They turned a door into a death ray. Is that even possible? Merck's response is quiet, his form trembling with dawning horror. "Gah," he says, his voice strained. "They are harvesting. They came in with nothing. They are leaving with components, with weapons." His voice drops to a horrified whisper. "We revere our apex predators, but we never considered what happens when you find something that doesn't just kill predators, but butchers them for parts. Something that hunts the hunters themselves. The flood of incoming messages, too. Crayon's private comm is no longer silently skeptical. It's a torrent of panicked queries. The Scar Matriarch's message flashes on screen. "You have made your point, Cray. This spectacle is over. Kill them. Kill the broadcast now. But humiliation and triumph war in Crayon's gut." He has proven his point, but now he must contain the proof. "The trials are over," he bellows, "but the lesson is not. Now the Terrans face a true warrior. They will face my champion. Release Udamax." In their final holding cell, our three heroes prepare with the efficiency of veterans. Milo holds out a jury-rigged EMP he fashioned from the turret's power cell. "Aim for the shiny bits," he instructs. Tegan stretches while studying a replay of Skotari combat techniques. He'll be proud, overconfident. We use that. Milo, spot weaknesses. Cody, you're the distraction. Don't let him plant his feet. The door hisses open, and Cody tucks the imp into his shorts. "All right, team," he says with incongruous cheer. "Let's go win the Super Bowl." They walk into the main stadium, where Udamax awaits a 15-foot-tall monster of chrome and muscle. Its upper arms wield a massive plasma halberd, while its lower arms carry bucklers of energized steel. What follows is a symphony of destruction orchestrated by three humans who have become something more than what they were. Cody is the frantic violin solo, darting in and out, never letting the giant establish a rhythm. Tegan is the steady war drum, landing precise strikes at vulnerable points. Milo is the conductor, calling out weaknesses and openings as they appear. They chip away at the giant, damaging an arm actuator, denting the cybernetic housing on its knee. "The knee's cracked," Milo yells. One more good hit. Cody seizes his opportunity, sprinting, sliding, and slapping the imp against the damaged joint. "No!" Tegan yells, launching herself into a desperate kick at the exact same spot. The EMP detonates, the plasma blades die, and Tegan's foot connects with devastating force. The knee joint shatters, and Udamax, the undefeated champion, falls. The stadium falls utterly silent. In the quiet, a Skotari guard near an exit, who had been frantically trying to secure a maintenance panel, shrinks in terror, drops his datapad and keycard, and flees. Cody picks up the guard's comm unit. "Well, that was a pretty good warm-up," he broadcasts to the stunned arena. "Anybody else want to go?" Tegan takes the comm. "Next time," she says, her voice like ice, "send your warlord." While they posture for the cameras, Milo sprints to where the guard had fled. He ignores the datapad, but snatches the dropped key card. He examines the heavy locked door the guard had been fiddling with, labeled Network Conduit A9, and looks at his collection of keys. 2 keys, 2 locks, and an idea, insane and beautiful, looms in his mind. "Guys," he says, his voice tight with excitement, "I think I know how to get us a ride home." He swipes the guard's key card, and a lock on the heavy door clicks open. The ignition is this way, but what he reveals isn't a bridge. It's a cramped, dark, intensely hot corridor leading to a humming, reinforced server room. "Tegan, watch the door," Milo orders, plunging into the darkness. "Cody, you're with me. Bring a light." Cody, grabbing a flickering emergency wand from the wall, follows him into a cage of glowing server racks. Milo finds the main trunk a pillar of hardened steel and blinking lights. In its center is a sealed port bearing the same key and cog symbol as his ceramic key. He jams it in and twists. With a heavy clunk, a panel slides open, revealing the ship's core network interface. Access granted. Welcome, Administrator. He plugs the dropped data pad into the interface, and a root directory fills the screen. Life support control, internal security systems, propulsion, navigation. He begins to type, a maestro at the keys. The final scene of this act unfolds not in a server room, but on the bridge of the gauntlet. Red lights flash and alarms blare, not internal warnings, but external alerts. The bridge crew lies unconscious, victims of a stun gas cocktail vented through the life support system, courtesy of Milo's newfound administrative privileges. Milo sits at the helm, surrounded by blinking consoles. Navigation locked. Main drive is online. Fun fact, your wiring is a disgrace, he announces with professional disapproval. I'm officially requisitioning this vessel. Cody spins in the Warlord's command chair. So where are we going? Back to Earth, Milo suggests. The practical choice. But Tegan, leaning against a console with a dangerous smile on her lips, sees something greater at stake. No, she says with quiet authority. Let's go see what else is out there. Milo grins and slams his hand on a glowing panel. A ship lurches, a deep thrum vibrating through the deck plates. Let the galaxy get used to us, Tegan finishes. Outside the view screen, the stars stretch into brilliant white lines as the gauntlet, under its new, entirely unauthorized management, tears a hole in reality and vanishes into the silent, waiting expanse of hyperspace. The bridge of the gauntlet falls silent save for the soft hum of systems that now obey new masters. The frantic red alert strobes have been replaced by a calm, steady blue, and the unconscious Skotari crew has been gently relocated to empty barracks by repurposed cleaning drones. Order has been restored, human order. Milo sits in the captain's chair, not with the arrogance of a conqueror, but with the quiet satisfaction of a craftsman who has just completed the job of a lifetime. He runs a hand over the console, feeling the subtle vibration of the engine he has personally tuned. She's purring, he says, a genuine, weary smile touching his lips for the first time. No rattles, no weird feedback in the power relays. Solid piece of work now. Cody leans against the main view screen, which displays a breathtaking real-time vista of a swirling nebula. The broadcast to the Coalition is over. The point has been made. He's not performing anymore. He's just watching the stars with profound awe on his face. You know, he says softly, from down there, you forget they're even real. It's just a ceiling. Tegan stands beside him, her posture relaxed for the first time. The warrior is at ease, her gaze not scanning for threats, but simply taking in the view with her crew. She has started this journey alone, a weapon ready to be pointed. Now she is part of a shield. We did it, she says, the words carrying the weight of all they have endured. We actually did it. Yeah, we did, Milo grunts, leaning back in a chair that fits him surprisingly well. So what now, boss? The question hangs in the air, vast and full of possibility. They have the power to go anywhere, do anything. They could strike back, they could run, they could hide. But something profound has changed in these three humans since their abduction. They are no longer just strangers thrown together by alien caprice. They have become something more. The weeks that follow are a strange and wonderful kind of peace. The universe outside the view screen is a tunnel of flowing, strange colors. Inside, a new routine settles over the three of them as they traverse the cosmos in their stolen warship. Milo is in heaven. He treats the ship like the ultimate fixer-upper, disappearing into its guts for days at a time. He emerges occasionally, covered in iridescent lubricant, to announce a new breakthrough. He bypasses the nutrient paste dispenser in the mess hall and, after much trial and error with the molecular fabricator, proudly produces 3 perfectly grilled cheeseburgers. He reroutes the bridge's atmospheric controls to to smell of fresh-cut grass, just because he can. He is no longer just a mechanic from Detroit. He is a master engineer, a pioneer charting the very limits of technology centuries ahead of his time. Cody, in turn, becomes their historian and cultural attaché. He dives into the Skotari databanks, bypassing the military files and heading straight for their art and history. He discovers that their music is mathematically perfect, but utterly passionless, that their heroic sagas all end with the protagonist dying for the state, and they have no concept of comedy. He begins documenting their own story on a datapad, chronicling everything from the Grom fight to Milo's quest for the perfect replicated French fry. He is no longer a directionless thrill-seeker. He is the keeper of their legend, the voice that will one day tell Earth their story. Tegan becomes the heart of their small community. With the immediate threat gone, the hardened warrior begins to soften. She spends her time on the bridge, not just studying tactics, but poring over the coalition's star charts, memorizing trade routes, and learning the political landscape of the galaxy they have just crashed. She is planning not for a fight, but for a conversation. She organizes their schedules, makes sure Milo remembers to eat, and even listens with a patient smile as Cody reads her the latest chapter of their adventure. She is no longer just a weapon. She is a leader, a strategist, and the quiet, steady anchor of their found family. One evening, they gather on the bridge, eating Milo's latest culinary creation, a surprisingly successful attempt at pizza. A moment of unexpected vulnerability blooms as they share what they miss about Earth. "You know what I miss?" Milo says, staring at the flowing colors of hyperspace. "The smell of gasoline and my dog." He's as dumb as a brick golden retriever named Shui. "I miss the ocean," Cody sighs. "That feeling when you're on a board and just for a second, you're flying. I'm going to teach my little sister how to surf for real this time." Tegan is quiet for a moment, watching them. "I'm going to take a walk," she says finally, "in a forest while it's raining, and I'm not going to look over my shoulder, not even once." In that moment, they aren't specimens or champions. They're just three people who have been through hell together, dreaming of home. The day finally comes when Milo makes the announcement they've been waiting for. "We're here." The surreal tunnel of light collapses. The stars snap back into familiar silent points, and there, hanging in the black like a perfect blue marble, is Earth. Home. For a long moment, no one speaks. They just stare, drinking in the sight of their world small, fragile, and more beautiful than they remembered. "Okay," Tegan says, her voice steady as she takes command one last time. "They're going to be scared. They're going to see a massive alien warship and think the worst. We do this smart. We do this right." Cody nods, already at the comm station. No hails to NORAD or the Pentagon. They'll just cause panic in a bunker. We go bigger. He looks at Tegan. "To everyone?" "To everyone," she confirms. Cody takes a deep breath, his fingers flying over the console. He doesn't just open a channel. He hijacks every satellite, every broadcast signal, every cell network on the planet. From the jumbotrons in Times Square to the flickering smartphone screens in rural Africa, their message will be heard. A single clear, calm tone cuts through every program on Earth. And Cody's voice, devoid of his usual surfer bro affectation, speaks to the world. "Hello, Earth. This is not an invasion. Please do not be afraid." He pauses, letting the words sink in. On the view screen, they can see the planet light up as 1 billion people turn their attention to the sky. "My name is Cody. I'm from California. With me are Tegan from who knows where and Milo from Detroit. A few weeks ago, we were taken from our homes, just like you might have seen in the movies. We were brought out here to be a demonstration. Proof that humanity was too dangerous, too chaotic, too much for the rest of the galaxy to handle." Tegan steps up to the microphone. "They were right," she says, her voice ringing with a strength that resonates across the globe. We are dangerous to those who would cage us. We are chaotic to those who live in fear, and we are more than they could have ever imagined. We were put on trial, and we won.